Hey everyone, welcome to Neil Talks. My name's Neil and it's time to talk the Sandman. Well, we've reached the penultimate episode of season 1, guys. This one is Collectors, and I don't think it's a spoiler to say we know what Collectors are now. When we saw the trio of Collectors planning their big old gathering, inviting the Corinthian, all doing the copycat murder, we get the sense of it. They consider themselves something different, but they're all inspired by the Corinthian, and I know that there is an issue of the Sandman called the Collectors, which is the convention of serial killers itself. It's one of those iconic early Sandman issues that really sort of cemented this series as something different, something that just didn't just draw a lot of attention to it, but then executed a fascinating story in this shocking setting. I know Neil Gaiman talks about a comic convention that or a writer's convention, I forget which, that he was attending in the late 80s. Either he had just landed Sandman or he hadn't yet. Maybe he had just done Black Orchid at this point. And he already had this idea of a serial killer convention. And he was petrified to discuss it with anyone for fear that it would get stolen before he had a chance to execute it the way he wanted to execute it. I can only imagine what that's like when you have an idea that seems so new and so fresh and no one's done this before, and all you want to do is find the right place to plunk that story down and get it out to the world before someone beats you to the punch. What a brilliant idea. That was 30 plus years ago, and it's weird, like often you see ideas replicated and paid homage to and the such, but I can't recall anyone else trying to tackle this, and I think it's because Neil put such a stamp on it the first time that anyone else attempting to put a spin on it, it would just feel like a lesser take on the idea. But finally we get a new take on it. Granted, it's still the Sandman. Granted, it's still Neil Gaiman, but it's not 20-something Neil Gaiman, it's 50-something Neil Gaiman. He's a much more mature writer now. He's got so much more experience. I have to think that colors the way he approached this series versus how he tackled the comic 30 plus years ago. And I wonder also, if you create something in your early years, even if it's considered incredibly good, memorable, iconic, do you have those thoughts post-creation about, man, I should have done this thing different. I wish I had tweaked that. That line of dialogue still doesn't ring true for me. And I wonder how many of the changes that we've seen in this adaptation have been those sorts of changes that Neil's had over the years about things he wished he had done differently or he would do differently now if he were to tackle the same project. Because as good as the Sandman is, it certainly feels like a story written by a young author, a 20-something dude, as opposed to a much more mature author with family and kids and so much more life experience. I think that's why Dream feels a little bit more compassionate in this version. I think that's why we were more sympathetic to John Dee. I think there's also story changes that have been subtle, but they're things that I haven't gone back to the comics since I've started watching the series, but I'm tempted because there's things I'm picking up in the series that I don't recall from the comic, and I'm not sure it's because I just missed them in the comic or that they weren't there. One of the things that's really stuck in my mind is from the episode 24/7, in the infamous diner episode. And towards the end of that episode, once all the patrons and staff of the diner have killed each other and themselves, John is visited by the Fates in the guise of Bet and Judy and what's the name of the CEO, Kate, and they deliver a message to John. And John asks them what his future is, and the first time they tell him, they say, your future is back behind walls, guarded. It sounds very much like they're describing him going back to the mental institution. And he goes, no, what's my future? And they give him a different one. And the one they say is, we envision you crushing the life of the Dream Lord in your hands. And now I wonder whether that particular moment is the Fates actually planting that idea in John Dee's mind. Did he consider crushing the ruby before the Fates told him they saw him doing it? And we have to understand the Fates. The Fates aren't like the Watcher. They don't just stand back and not get involved. They understand that they're involved. And while maybe they always tell the truth, they spin the truth however they want. So both of those things can be the truth. But maybe by saying you crushing the stone, that's what will eventually put you back behind walls under guard. But maybe they can actually plant ideas. Maybe they can steer destiny. Maybe they aren't as hands-off as they appear, as we assume most oracles are. It's an interesting idea. It's been stuck in my mind ever since I've seen that episode, because one of the things about that story beat, about Dee crushing the ruby, therefore releasing all the power of the dreaming back to Dream, it always felt not necessarily Deus Ex Machina, but it felt very much like it was a very simple solution, a very easy solution. Part of the challenge of writing characters like the Endless is you can't put them in direct battles with other entities, especially just humans, whether they're ruby powered or not, because the Endless are just essentially all powerful. Put Dream up against Lucifer, that's fine. Put Dream up against another one of the Endless, that's something worth contemplating. But those conflicts tend to be more political and intellectual and emotional than butting heads physical, like the traditional superhero fight that we were used to seeing in a comic book story. But put him up against a man like John Dee, and it's not really a fight at all. So that's not where the story needs to go. The story needed a different solution. And that solution is the crushing of the ruby and the powers just immediately coming back to Dream. But I find it interesting that maybe, just maybe, the Fates influenced that decision. What do the Fates know? Yeah, very, very interesting idea. And I once I've finished watching the show, I will go back to the comics to check out some of these things. And I'm certainly going to give the comics a big old reread in advance of season 2, because I know it hasn't been announced yet, but I feel awfully optimistic that a season 2 is coming, and I'm so psyched for that idea. Anyway, let's get into it. Let's jump into episode 9. This one's called Collectors.
Jed was gone. And they were dead. I know.
And Lyta's pregnant.
Believe, but
I believe you. When I woke up this morning.
oh my god.
I know.
This is what a Vortex does.
What is happening to us?
I think I know the answer to that.
I'm a dream vortex.
I think it's me.
I don't know how she did it, but Rose just got Lyta pregnant.
What?
Apparently it happened in her dream.
Then it's starting.
You gonna tell the boss?
It's none of my business.
Since when?
Since Lord Morpheus reminded me that I'm merely a librarian,
look
I
at
should concern myself with my books from now on.
Lucienne standing up for herself a
That?
little.
What is wrong with him?
Nothing is wrong with him.
Wrong.
He's always been this way.
Now's not the time to be fighting. Not when there's a vortex getting people pregnant and runaway nightmares doing God knows what.
What's your name?
Have you ever noticed how people only ever use your name when you're in trouble? Jed. you run away a lot. I do too. And I'll tell you a secret. I'm running away right now. And once we get to Rose, we don't have to run anymore. You wanna drive?
I will fix this.
She
I
doesn't,
will make it go away.
No,
she doesn't want it
you
to.
won't. However it's happening, our dreams are coming true.
Hello?
Hi, I'm calling because I found one of your flyers. I think I found him.
Rose,
Jed?
can you come and get me?
Yes, I'm leaving right now, Jetty. Tell me the name of the hotel.
The cereal convention.
We'll see you soon.
Here they come. Killer, 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 killer. A whole lot of goateed dudes. I should do something about this.
It's a cereal convention. I thought there'd be cereal.
I thought this whole issue was dead and buried in the 60s.
That's when Harry killed the lights. I could have died.
Oh, all that side dialogue straight from the comic. Love it. Oh, he's into kids. He likes them young.
You may want to advise him to steer clear of the convention areas.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I laugh when I'm nervous.
You must allow me to accompany you. I believe America is a very large and excitable place. If you'll indulge me, I should rather enjoy the role of amateur knight-errant. I have my sword stick and an ancient but serviceable revolver.
I see you've met my young friend.
Oh, is he with you?
He is. Are we good?
We are, yeah. We're good.
Glad to hear it. Come on, Jen.
Oh, the hat's even
Nice to
straight.
meet you.
His hat straight from the comic book.
And home is England? You sound English.
Thank you. Is everything all right?
I hope so.
I love that his pince nez is all akimbo. I don't know, there's something charming about it. So Lyta's just gonna live in dreams.
You sure this is okay?
She's getting way pregnant.
Very sure.
This is a quick pregnancy. Is this real world? Yeah.
What was that?
Oh, no.
An earthquake.
In their dream home? They built their dream home on a fault line? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. What is happening there?
Just had some minor seismic activity and a little, damage I wanted to report. Why bother you when...
Mervyn, if the dreaming has been damaged in any way, I will be the one to address it.
I love that the animation on his face is like stop motion animation effect.
I will find the cause of the disturbance, and I will eliminate it. Thank you, Mervyn.
Isn't Rose the cause? Or is there more to it than this? Or is it the Corinthian? Or is it the fact that Rose is going to the Corinthian?
I've come to return these.
And to apologize?
Making further improvements to the realm?
Well, look at them. They're like...
In that time, did you experience any similar
Ask for her help.
seismic disturbance?
Spell it out. Just say, I'm sorry. I need your help.
Have you any theory as to their origin?
Speaking strictly as a librarian? I do. If there is something new in the dreaming, and you did not create it, how did it get here?
And how does desire tie into this? I love that I genuinely don't know.
That's very grown up, Rose Walker.
It is, isn't it?
What's wrong?
What if he doesn't like me? Or worse, what if I don't like him? Used to love chicken fingers. He's probably completely different now.
No. Still digs chicken fingers.
I'm gonna make it less boring. Okay. We gotta keep you safe, Jed Walker.
Oh, oh, he's so creepily intimidating. He's just got such a presence, such a creepy presence. What is his plan? Oh, he just wants to go down and do something. Maybe.
Nobody does any collecting until the convention's over and you're at least 200 miles away. Our new guest of honor, the Corinthian.
Who's that guy? Oh, Jed.
Look at you.
I wish this baby would hurry up and just get here. It's been months.
It's been 2 hours.
So what do you think?
Huh. I have no idea
Tell
what to
Lucienne
make of
she
it.
was right about the source of the tremors.
It's like starry sky
Hector,
under
look
those
who's
cracks.
here.
It's so.
He wants us to leave.
Why?
Because a ghost cannot escape his fate by hiding in the dreaming. Do you not see the damage your presence has done to this realm?
It's her. It's
I
Lyta.
cannot allow you to stay.
So he's literally a ghost hiding in her dreams. It helps
You're not going
putting those
anywhere.
terms to it.
Dream, please stop! No! Hector! No!
The baby is yours, for now. And one day, I will come for it.
No, you won't. You won't do nothing.
This dream is over.
I don't want you coming near me or my friends ever again.
Rose,
So I suggest you leave my universe the fuck alone.
Rose.
This dream is over.
Uh-oh. Lyta was there.
Hey, are you okay? He's not gonna bother you or me ever again. I promise.
Is the name biblical? A reference to Paul?
Or to Corinth, the Roman city of vice?
Or are you just into leather?
Rich, Corinthian, brother.
You know, all of the above.
I don't want to monopolize you.
Yeah, let's get that drink later.
I'd love that.
That's not the boogeyman. He drowned in Louisiana 3 years ago.
How do you know?
I know.
They have an infiltrator. Oh. Goose flesh. That's not him.
Hi, it's Rose Walker, Jet's sister.
Geez, Stephen Fry's a big man.
I'm sorry, but this area is for convention attendees only. There are no kids in the convention area. I would know.
Imagine how annoyed he'd be if he found out we have bees.
The Dutch uncle. What's her name?
You check
The
the convention
babysitter.
And we'll meet back here in 15.
That was a
Exciting.
handy sober case. This is new. The Dutch uncle and the babysitter.
The goal is to drag out hope, because they will pay you for proof that the trophy is alive.
I don't use my sexuality when I'm collecting. I use the same skills as anyone else here. Intelligence, preparedness, and brute force, if necessary.
What have you stumbled upon? Oh,
God tells me to do it. God tells me to kill them.
Or we could work together and share the experience.
oh, he recognizes.
All these beautiful little kids wandering off on their own, getting lost. And if you can't find any kids, you can always go on the rides.
He just stakes out Disney World. Jeez.
Oh, you're Rose Walker.
I am. Why?
I have your room key right here, and a message from Gilbert. He says he's very sorry, but he had to go home.
What's in her room? I mean, is that just because she's also Vortex? And the
My lord.
Corinthians guest?
You were right. The Vortex was responsible for the damage to our realm, and I was wrong.
You were not entirely wrong, sir. She's found them both.
The Corinthian and Fiddler's Green. Where? How do you know?
Fiddler's Green told me.
I've been sitting on that one. I didn't want to spoil.
The Corinthian has found Rose Walker.
Yes.
Can you imagine the damage he could do?
I got his sobriquet. I'm not sure I've seen hers. He's Nimrod.
You're not one of us.
I want to be. I want to understand. Learn.
A good doctor. She likes to kill her victims by removing their organs.
She's the good doctor.
One by one. Nimrod's a hunter. He can skin, bone, joint any animal in minutes. I like the eyes.
Oh, Jed's gonna see this. Get out of here, Jed.
This one's mine.
Are you okay? What's wrong?
They're after me.
Who's after you? Come on. You'll be safe in my room, yeah?
Oh, no. Oh, no, oh, no.
He came to you and told you he was wrong. It was very nearly an apology. The Morpheus I knew was incapable of that. Me, what matters is that Dream stops the Corinthian and saves Rose Walker.
There is no saving Rose Walker.
Why on earth would you say that?
Do you not know?
She's a Vortex, and he doesn't know.
She's a Vortex.
Oh dear. He's going to have to kill her.
I don't know. She seems powerful. She managed to kick him out of her dreams. Is this the same room as the current? Yeah.
Rose? Jed? Rose!
Oh! Okay.
You can't have him! He's mine, Fred!
Stop!
We will play it!
Let me go!
Oh! Now I'm gonna have to hurt you!
Hello, Rose. You're safe with me.
Oh, jeez. Oh. Yet again, it's a really interesting adaptation of the comic. And I'm sorry if you guys are new watchers of the show, maybe what I'm sharing doesn't resonate. But the spirit of the original comic is so beautifully replicated here, even though some of the plot is definitely different. What I love is there are notes that are just such clear callbacks to the comic itself. And in this particular case, it was very much about all the minutia, the secondary stuff, all the various sobriquets, the panel discussions, the overheard conversations when Corinthian and Jed first arrived. All of that stuff is lifted straight from the comic, pretty much verbatim, and it's a lot of fun seeing it brought to life. That being said, the plot it's very similar. Rose and Gilbert, aka Fiddler's Green. I've been sitting on that one. I didn't want to spoil that one for anyone. They actually arrive at the convention the day before because they're tracking down Jed, and in any case, they certainly never infiltrate the way Gilbert did here. But the minutia of the plot doesn't really affect the story, if that makes sense. We still have the Corinthian keeping Jed captive. We have Rose looking for her brother. The comic included a scene where Funland attacked Rose alone. Like Jed is bound in the Corinthian's room for the duration of the comic version of this, to be saved for later, basically. But Funland sees Rose and sees envisions her much younger, and there's a scene that gets a little rapey, and it's all quite terrible. So I'm not surprised that they found a different version of the story, and one that's got Jed more active, kind of just oblivious to what's going on. I kind of love the subplot between Dream and Lucienne, which certainly never existed in the comic, of this sort of fighting couple where Lucienne doesn't feel appreciated and Dream's coming to terms with being able to say, to apologize, basically, to say you were right, asking for help, all of these things that he never would have done prior to his capture. It's really kind of endearing, and it certainly helps bring the audience more onto his side, because he's a tough character to really love in the comics. You're following him because he's so compelling, but he does some fairly terrible things. And I like what they're doing with the character now. They're telling us about the terrible things. They're showing us some of it. You know, he condemned Nada to hell. He's got history, and the way the other residents of the Dreaming speak about him, they're getting the point across that he wasn't necessarily the best boss. Everyone left because it seems he may have taken off. And the only reason most came back is because they were afraid of the punishment that would follow if they didn't. And I think it's cool that they're putting Dream on this arc sooner. I like how they revamped the whole Hector and Lyta Hall story. I told you last episode how they were hiding out in Jed's dream. Well, they weren't hiding out. They were unwittingly living in Jed's dreams in the comic version, but we've separated the Halls from Jed in this story, and Lyta's got her own sort of personal grief to deal with, but her love and grief for her husband was so strong that her husband's ghost literally lived in her dreams. So she would wake up, but he would continue to live in her dreams. And she just wouldn't stop thinking about him. And because of her proximity to Rose, she actually conceived in real life. And now Lyta's pregnant with a baby that one day Dream will claim. And what does that mean? What's that all about? Like, what is this child going to be like if it was conceived in the Dreaming? That obviously doesn't happen on the regular. But of much more urgency is Corinthian has Rose and Jed cornered. And what exactly is the Corinthians' plan for the Vortex? It's much more than just killing Rose. He wants to use her power somehow, and how exactly we don't know. We aren't. I don't think we're fully aware yet of what all her powers, what she's capable of. But if anyone knows, Corinthian's probably got a pretty good idea. So yeah, it's tense. It's urgent, and we're heading into a season finale with a lot of momentum. Presumably, Dream is going to be showing up at this hotel in Georgia soon. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this all shakes down, because it is different enough from the comic that I am genuinely curious about what's going to happen next and how are they going to tell this. And even though the main story beats are there, the milestones are there, how we get there might be a completely different journey. And that's been the biggest joy I've taken out of this series so far, is that I thought it was especially based on the previews and the trailers and stuff, I had the sense that it was going to be incredibly faithful to the comic. So much so that I may have known every beat that was coming. And the fact that that's not the case really excites me. I'm not like some fan. I know some fans, some of you I might even be talking to right now, feel like deviating from the comic might not be a good thing. And fair enough. I mean, that every opinion is valid, and I would honestly love to hear your reasoning why you feel an adaptation like this somehow denigrates the original. But for me personally, I'm loving witnessing this story that I love and I'm really familiar with again, but through fresh eyes, because of the adaptation, because of the small changes that bring new life to it. It's been so much fun. This has been one of my most pleasant viewing experiences of the last year. Such a pleasant surprise. I think because I went into this with such trepidation, so much worry that it wouldn't live up to my expectations, or it would somehow fall flat, or it just wouldn't work, because I've heard for the last 3 decades that this is an unfilmable story, and how would you translate it, and all the negative associations with this, that it just wouldn't work, that I was half anticipating that it wouldn't. So it's been such a pleasant surprise that not only is it working, but it's working so well, and it seems to have people talking, and it's more than I could have dreamed of. And man, I can't wait for the next episode. Until then, everybody, take care, stay healthy. We'll see you soon. Cheers.